Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Pakistan's Asia Bibi acquitted of blasphemy but must remain in country. Indian soldiers attack police station. Indonesian police compensate victim of wrongful shooting after 12 years. Police in Nepal torture man to obtain murder confession. Rights groups say conditions not right for Rohingya return to Burma. Thailand's crackdown on illegal migrants hurting asylum seekers. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Alexandra. This week, Just Asia begins with Pakistan, where the overruling of Asia Bibi's blasphemy conviction and death sentence last week has mired the country in protests. Pakistan's Supreme Court ruled that Asia was convicted on flimsy evidence, ending her 8-year ordeal on death row. This sparked violent protests led by the extremist Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan Party, blockading streets in major cities and calling for Asia's immediate execution. Asia's lawyers fled the country, and there were calls for the assassination of the Supreme Court judges. The protests were only brought to an end by a government deal with the Islamist hardliners, where Asia Bibi would remain in Pakistan while a final review of the Supreme Court ruling takes place. This has left Bibi in legal limbo, with her family fearing for her safety. Her husband has appealed for Britain or the United States to grant the family asylum. The deal has sparked anger against Prime Minister Imran Khan's government. Many critics note that it was the second time Khan's administration folded to TLP demands, after his government sacked an Ahmadi economic advisor following pressure from TLP leader Khadim Hussain Rizvi. According to columnist Fahd Hussain, Khan may have won the election, but it is Rizvi who seems to be ruling Pakistan today. Next, in India, soldiers shockingly attacked a police station in the Bomdila area of West Kameng district in the northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh. According to the officer in charge of the police station, the soldiers were armed and came in trucks fitted with LMGs. We had called the CRPF for help. The soldiers vandalized our property, broke glasses of our vehicles, and threw stones. I informed the deputy commissioner, and as she arrived, stones were thrown and abuses hurled at her.
This is a direct threat to you. Okay? Take it as a warning. You dare touch my boy again, any time in future, and see what I make out of you.
Deputy Commissioner Dr. Swarup confirmed the account and added that some soldiers were armed with knives. She further said that top army officers at the spot did nothing to stop the attack and remained unapologetic. The soldiers also brutally thrashed a civilian bystander, as well as the superintendent of the police. The soldiers were reportedly incensed at the police having detained 2 inebriated army men for misbehaving with the locals and having brought them to the police station. 5 FIRs have been lodged against the soldiers, largely because of the victims included even senior officials. The incident exposes the impunity the armed forces of India enjoy. In Indonesia, police have finally compensated a victim of wrongful shooting after 12 years. The West Sumatra Regional Police was ordered to pay Mr. Iwan Mulyadi an amount of IDR 3 billion after a police officer shot Mr. Mulyadi in 2006, resulting in him being paralyzed from the waist down. Mr. Mulyadi sued the police, and the district court ordered the police to pay compensation in 2011. It took Mr. Mulyadi and his lawyer 7 years, however, to receive the compensation. The police were reluctant to pay, and Mr. Mulyadi had to submit a report to the Victim and Witness Protection Agency to urge the police to obey the court decision. Mr. Mulyadi also approached the media as well as national and international human rights groups to support his effort in obtaining compensation from the police. Moving to Nepal, police illegally arrested and tortured an innocent man to force him to confess to the murder of Miss Asha's death. Asha was found murdered on October 18th, and the police subsequently took 25-year-old Biki Matar into custody without any arrest warrant. although Matar told the police that he was a cleaning staff at Rajbiraj municipality and he was innocent. The police tortured him to force him to confess to Ashadav's murder. According to Matar, he was beaten 7 to 8 times with a plastic pipe on October 26. The police tied his hands and legs with cloth. They put a cloth in his mouth and made him lie face up. And then they kept pouring water in his nostrils for about 5 minutes in an attempt to suffocate him. Matar was released by the police on October 27 after they were not able to force him to confess to the crime. He was later admitted to hospital and he has difficulty eating food and walking around. The local villagers have become enraged after this arrest of an innocent man. They are demanding that the police officers who arrest Matar without fair investigation must face punishment. Moving to Burma, Human Rights Watch has said Rakhine State is not ready for the repatriation of Rohingya refugees who fled the violence last August, while Bangladesh hosts to the majority of the refugees fleeing from Burma, and Burma have been working on a repatriation plan to begin mid-November. Human rights groups and even the UN have urged caution. According to a statement by Human Rights Watch, Burma has done nothing to allay the Rohingyas' fear of being returned to the same violence and oppression they fled. A senior parliamentarian for human rights, a group of Southeast Asian lawmakers, also said conditions are not yet ripe for the repatriation to begin. The group has called on both Burma and Bangladesh to stop plans for the return of the Rohingya. Similarly, Amnesty's Burma researchers said the repatriated of atrocities remain at large, and those who would return will continue to face severe restrictions on their movements, difficulties accessing hospitals and schools, and no clear legal fate in the country. Last week, a group of Rohingya refugees at the Kutupalong refugee camp in Bangladesh handed over a letter of demands addressed to Aung San Suu Kyi, outlining their position before some of them returned to Burma. This included that the government accept the Rohingya as an official ethnic group, restore their full citizenship rights, and establish an international security mechanism to protect them after they return. Thailand's recent crackdown on illegal migrants is hurting asylum seekers as well. Some of 200 asylum seekers, mainly from Cambodia, Vietnam, Syria, and Pakistan, have been arrested, while UNHCR recognition is meant to provide protection to anyone fleeing a country where they face serious threats. Thailand has never ratified the UN Convention that recognizes the status of refugees. It considers refugee and asylum seekers the same as any other migrants. This means that refugees are unable to work legally in the country or fully access health services and tertiary education. In October, the Thai government called for all migrants in Thailand without documentation or authorization to be arrested within the month. Thousands of foreigners have been arrested since then. The government has also revoked any release on bail previously granted to refugees and has asked those who paid to be free to turn themselves in. After their arrest, some of them also face deportation to the countries from which they escaped. In 2015, Thailand was internationally criticized for deporting more than 100 Uyghurs back to China. In October, authorities arrested more than 70 Pakistani Christians who were also escaping religious persecution and announced that they would be deported. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on this and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.alrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.